I think I've got this figured out without him saying it, so I'm going to do it for him. Hey, University of Texas. I think Nick Saban is talking to you. I think Nick Saban is pointing his finger at you, and I think Nick Saban is going out of his way to seem like the polite old grandpa and not mention you directly, but I'm pretty sure Nick Saban is talking about the wealthiest college program that exists. And it's not even close. So I do think Nick Saban is pointing a finger, and I actually think Nick Saban is right, and I don't think anyone is going to listen to Nick Saban again. Nick Saban is talking about, I believe, the University of Texas, and I also believe he's pointing a finger at USC. Those are the two halves in a world of haves and have-nots. There's been real separation in the industry of college football, professional college football, I call it. There is the ultra rich. Then there's the wealthy. Then there's everybody else. And the ultra rich is probably only two of them. Nobody outspends Texas and USC. And if you do, you know what they'll do? They'll just ramp up their spending. They don't care. So I think, and I don't blame them, and hear me out, I think Nick Saban is saying, you know, you got these two Jeff Bezos of college football, and it's out of control. So here's the reality. Why I'm even bringing this up. I think it's interesting that it's Saban, number one. I think that he doesn't name names is he's going out of his way to seem like a nice grandpa. Number two. And then number three, I think he's right. Absolutely right. And I think he should be more direct. But even if he were, I don't think you care until. And I can fill in until. So is he saying this stuff out of jealousy? Is he saying this stuff? Is he pointing fingers sort of out of bitterness? Or is he being totally sincere and knowledgeable? I think it's all of them, actually. I really do. You may not. That's fine. Nick Saban is, once again, and I don't think this will be the last time he does it, he is warning the college sports world about its demise. Nobody's listening to the old guy. Nobody is. I can't think of how many times I've said Nick Saban comes across, he's not sympathetic, and he's always the get off my lawn guy. But he is the voice of reason in this argument. And I don't think anyone's going to care yet. Oh, you'll care eventually, but not for a while. It's the second time, and probably not going to be the last, that Nick Saban all but says, this industry is going to implode. You're going to eat yourselves alive, and I'm warning you now. And I don't think it's going to be the last time he says it. I do think he should be more direct. So nobody's listening for a number of reasons. One, nobody's listening because it's Nick Saban. Is he being laughed off or ignored because he's the game's most successful coach? Is he because he's the second richest coach in the game? Or is he being blown off because nobody can rein this in? And I think it's all of those things, all of them. And I don't think the public cares at all yet. I don't even think the media cares at all yet. I don't think some coaches care at all yet. Just so you know the setup of what Nick Saban is talking about, and he does ramble. You can now give college football players, all athletes really, but you can give them however much money you would like. I'm never going to say a transaction because there's not business transactions. That's a joke. Give them money. Just hand them money. Own them any way you can. I said give. It's not a salary. You're not buying their services. There's no services rendered. It's giving them money with no rules or caps. The school isn't paying them. The leagues aren't paying them. These shadowy, sketchy people who want to own them are the ones paying them. That's the way it's set up. And again, you're going to say, well, maybe they deserve it. Who really cares? Saban is saying you're going to care when they run off and leave your team and your school. You will care. He's right about the things that he's saying. He even makes a point to talk about, and don't hear him do this very often. He doesn't talk very often about his time in the NFL, which did not go well as the head coach of the Dolphins. And that should tell you how tough it is to coach in the NFL when that guy can't even win. He can turn around and show up on a college campus and win a championship in no time. You send him to a good franchise like the Dolphins, and he still can't get over the hump because it's that tough in the NFL. It's just a different animal altogether. So he even made a few references over the last couple of days to how the NFL works, which is exactly what I've been saying for a while. You can't figure out how to exist and run your business like the NFL. The NFL's got it mastered. You don't have anything going on. You are the neighborhood association with everybody's hedges out of control. Cars on blocks, dogs running around, boats in the street. You have no rules whatsoever, and it looks like trash, and it's going to get worse. That's what Saban is saying. So the league's not paying these guys. The schools aren't paying these guys. It's just these people who want to own them, who want to get in on the game, who want to create some relationship whatsoever. So because he's right, and I don't think fans care, he's saying there are no rules, there are no guardrails in this sport, and I keep telling you people about this. So the programs with rich friends, if that's what you want to call them, and I mean the ultra rich. I think people get confused here. Well, Jeff, there are a lot of rich schools. Yeah, here's the distinction. They have to be rich schools with rich people that are obsessed with winning in football. Stanford is rich. They don't care about football. Cal is rich. They don't care about football like USC and Texas. UCLA has got rich alumni. Michigan's got rich alumni. They don't care like the rich people of Texas and USC. That's the separation. There are plenty of places around the country, particularly in the South, where people are obsessed with football. They don't have the kind of money that USC and Texas have, those grads. So there's a distinction here. It's not just rich. It's rich in wanting to own the football program. So those are programs, USC and Texas, are rich. They are programs with rich owners. They're going to buy their way to success. If you were 18 or 17 and you were poor, even if you're not poor, you'd take the money too. Absolutely. You better believe it. You'd take the money now. All of us would. I'm sorry, buddy, you want to give me that money to do nothing? I'll take it. Thanks. So he's warning, in the process, you're going to leave the others behind. I'll get to the I think no one cares until. And until could happen next year. Be wishful thinking, but I think until could happen next year. So here you go, one more time. So the reason why this football stuff is coming up is these are dumb things. These meetings of the leagues, they're kind of dumb, but the SEC meetings are taking place, and they're talking about scheduling and blah, 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 blah. And of course, Nick Saban now has become kind of this grandfather figure who's often asked, hey, buddy, why are you so doom and gloom about your industry? And he'll answer, and he's answering this way. He wants to make athletes employees. That's a dumpster fire too, by the way. But Saban is saying the better plan would be to make them employees, and he gives you a reason why. Now, becoming an employee comes with all sorts of issues. Insurance, and the reason why I don't think schools and leagues will make them employees is because they don't want what's coming down the road, and that is concussion lawsuits. That's my opinion. But Saban is saying the better plan would be for us to make them employees. You want to pay them, let's pay them. But let's make them employees or unionize them. He's even advocating that. He's desperate, and he's saying our business is desperate. So he says that athletes should become employees. I'm reading now from Yahoo Sports. I have no problem with that. Unionize it. Make it like the NFL. Told you. I told you they would. The NFL is looking at college football going, man, you guys don't have anything going right. You don't have any rules. You don't even know what you're doing. He says, I have no problem with that. Unionize it. Make it like the NFL. If it's going to be the same for everyone, I think that's better than what we have now. That, I do believe, is a shout out to USC and Texas. And USC and Texas are saying back, F off, old man. We don't care. We've got more money than you. We'll find a way to beat you. We'll just buy the guys. Yep. It's exactly what's going to happen. What we have now is we have some states, I don't know what this means, some states and some schools in some states that are investing a lot of money in forms of managing their rosters and others. That's Nick Saban saying there's a couple really rich schools, unlike my state, which is dirt poor and awful, Alabama, and I got a school that doesn't have USC and Texas alumni, so I can't even compete with them. I can out-coach them, but I can't compete with them because they're going to buy my guys. That's what he's saying. He's exactly right. He says some states and some schools are investing a lot of money in terms of managing their roster. That's Nick's grandpa way of saying they're buying the players. And they are. And they're not even pretending otherwise. He says, I think this is going to create a real competitive disadvantage for some of us in the future. Yep. Not yet, but yes. You think there's disparity in college football right now? ? There's going to be a lot more in the future. Again, he says the rich are going to buy everybody. True. Mostly true. Saban mentioned how the NFL has a salary cap and different things to level the playing field. He said guidelines could be put in place to accomplish the same for college athletics. He goes on to say, this is pretty smart, quote, the big mistake that people in college athletics make is we're not a business. People say it's a business. It's not a business. It's revenue producing, but we pour all that money back into the business. In other words, they give it to guys like him. Just give it all back. He says that doesn't happen in college athletics. It's not like when I was in the NFL when you keep the profits. We reinvest every cent that gets made into non-revenue sports, to scholarships, to a lot of things that create a lot of opportunities for a lot of people, which is really, really good, he says. We're not talking about the same thing here. It's not really a business. It's just revenue producing. Nobody takes a profit. All the money gets reinvested in other opportunities for other people, whether it's facilities or it's scholarships, whether it's opportunities for people to play. If we continue down the road we're on, are we going to be able to continue to have those opportunities? I think those are all good questions somebody probably ought to answer. That was kind of a kumbaya moment for Nick Saban to pretend as if that this is really this sort of charitable thing. If you want to just accuse him of saying, I know, old man, you're out of touch, you can. You're going to be right. But I'm also going to tell you he's right. And he's going to be gone before USC and Texas run off and do exactly what he's saying, what they're trying to do now. So no one's going to care. No one else is even going to bring this up. The only two people that even talk about it are the two people that most qualified, and that is Nick Saban and Mack Brown. Mack Brown does a far better job than Nick Saban. He is sensible. He's practical. He's genuine. He's pretty smart. He's been around. He's saying the doom and gloom. So, but no one's going to care. And no one is even going to bring it up until there's a Final Four. Now, I know this feels like a long way off, and Texas and USC would be happy to get there, but I don't think this subject is kicked around until USC and or Texas makes a Final Four. When that happens, watch the storyline. And the storyline is going to be, hey, you guys sucked not long ago. Why are you so good all of a sudden? That doesn't seem right. How'd you get here? Oh, I know. You spent $5 million on players. If USC, and they might, although their defense will be trash again, but if USC were to make a Final Four this year, and a lot of people think they will, they got the best player in the game, a quarterback, then I think there will be a lot of noise of people in the industry saying old grumpy Nick, old get off my lawn Nick was right. If there's ever a time, and it doesn't happen this year, but if there's a time, any time in the near future that both Texas and USC make it, you're going to hear a screaming sound from everybody else, particularly poor schools in the South, who are football giants right now. But guess what was going to catch up with them? That alumni base is not Texas and it's not USC. There are no startups in Alabama, right? There's no young guys with enough money saying, I want to own that player. I like hanging. I'll give him a Lamborghini. I want to hang out with him. I'm a dork. I'm a nerd. I want to hang out with the cool guys for once. And I got the money to do it. They don't have that. USC and Texas do. So I think he's going to be blown off. I think he'll give the speech countless times. I don't think Steve Sarkisian nor Lincoln Riley fire back at the old man and say, back off, old man. Too bad, your day is done. I don't think they would do that at all. I don't get that impression. I think it'd be a bad move. It'd be bad form. But if and when one of them or both of them make a Final Four, everything that Nick Saban is pointing out is going to be talked about. Then what's going to happen is someone's going to say, old Nick was right. Can we get some rules? And USC and Texas are going to say, no, actually, no rules. We like it just the way it is. Shut your face. Go recruit more. We'll buy more.